Welcome everyone, this is episode 6 of our skirmish timeline, where we will look at Attack at Dawn, which is set in the North Downs. I'll be running this at Tier 2 solo and getting knocked out right at the beginning. This particular skirmish is set in the North Downs. There's no reliable way to tell when this is set, so I've decided to set this to around the time period when you are gathering all those rangers in preparation for them going to join the Grey Company. I'll be doing the same thing for the next skirmish, the Icy Crevasse. I figured that's a good time in which to consider those skirmishes to be set. Now, my reason on this one is probably because I usually don't do much questing in the North Downs, so I figured the most likely time I would be going into Dol Dinen will be on some errand that the Grey Company or whoever is going to be joining in the Grey Company wants me to do before going. In other words, making sure that the secret of Dol Dinen is safe, especially if the rangers guarding it are about to leave. Then they'll certainly want their secret to be kept a little bit longer. Now, I'll be doing both sides, but I'll be doing this side first. Now, this is a particular unusual skirmish in that you can go one of two sides, and you could do only one side if you wish. So we actually have a case where there's an optional control point, which is very unusual in skirmishes, and I really can't think of any other control points that are optional. Now, notice that the one I had before this was the prancing pony, though there was some ambiguous wording when I was doing the early one since I had changed the order. Now I'm back getting them filmed in the same order, which I'm actually intending to post them. Alright, this one. I am not going to take that control point. I'm just clearing the area. And the reason I'm clearing the area is there's an encounter that appears somewhere around here. And if I don't clear the area and the encounter pops up, I find myself fighting the mobs there and Tharb at the same time, which is something I really don't want to do. So therefore I traditionally clear out the area. I don't take the control point though, due to the number of counterattacks that we get at a later time. In that, if you don't take the control point, you can have fewer counterattacks. You say, well, why not? Take both control points, only have only one counterattack. What's so bad about that? Well, unfortunately, 2 encounters key off of that. So therefore, alright. So therefore, since 2 encounters key off of that counterattack, I want to 2 counterattacks key off of 2 encounters key off the counterattack, so therefore I want to be able to have both counterattacks. Ooh, got all 3 of those crawlers. That's nice. But that's sort of the idea there. Now, I do have all the encounter deeds done for the skirmishes on this character. So since I do, I really don't desperately need to do the encounter, except for the usual marks and medallions reason. I'm not exactly low on those at the moment. So therefore, if you don't care about doing the extra encounters, then you might just want to leave it one counterattack, which will make things a little bit easier to get done. So it's a bit of a choice that you have. Oh, this is going to be fun. Nothing like a tier 2 skirmish with a blood rook and 4 enemies at the same time. And I certainly don't want to be inside there when that rock falls. Sometimes it's hard to tell where the rocks are coming and where they're not. Yeah, that's definitely a rock coming down. You don't want to be in the areas when the rocks come down. They do a nasty point of damage. I think something like 20-25% of your morale. It's based on percentage. And since it's based on percentage, that means a ward will be taking a lot more damage than, say, a runekeeper. That way you could have it enough to make things uncomfortable for a tank without one-shotting your casters. I got a venomous blood arrow there. I resisted whatever he shot at. That's nice. They used to be a real pain to worry about, those blood arrows. Now that I got first aid, they're not too much of a problem for a ward anymore. But for a class that doesn't have any type of healing, it could still be a bit of a problem. Right, so now the second counterattack comes from the gate that you did not take before, so that'll be that gate. And that's why you only get one counterattack if you take both gates, because if you take both gates, there's no gate you didn't take. This is a rather unusual style of way of handling a skirmish. Since usually it's a complete direct path and you have to do it this way and no other way. So this one actually gives you a few options. Now, why am I setting this after Prancing Pony? Because since in the voiceover for the Prancing Pony, unfortunately this one does not have a voiceover, it just has a narration that's given in text here, which I wonder if I scrolled it off already. Let's see. Right. I guess it... Right, so the text is not there. Alright. Essentially, just it doesn't give it anything about the timing of it as far as I remember. But the voiceover in Thievery and Mischief, that says that the Rangers of the North are no longer there. While one may consider that mean that they've left for the Great Company, the problem with that is that I consider the Great Company could not be summoned until after the company arrives in Lothlorien. In fact, Elrond himself says at the beginning of Volume 3 that the company arrived with only 8 to Lothlorien and that they're resting there. And Thievery and Mischief is set soon after the new year. The company arrives in Lothlorien in the middle of January, so I consider the theory of mischief to take place before the Grey Company starts to assemble. So therefore, since I am setting this at the time when the Grey Company is present, so therefore I'm just assuming that the Rangers are a bit scattered due to all that weird stuff that was happening earlier. They're handling emergencies all over the place. They were killed by Omdir and things like that. So with all that going on, that's the reason why Bree was left unprotected. And I think that makes some sort of sense. Now I'm doing the same thing for Icy Crevasse, and the extra reason for Icy Crevasse in its timing is, of course, is I'm going to be assuming it's winter, and I'll explain that in more detail when I do that skirmish. For now, that's Frib, one of our 2 encounters. Now he's one that can happen any time. The 2 that there's an encounter that comes up there, and there's an encounter that comes up there, and those are the 2 that... Ouch. Okay. I guess that was 25%. Ah, nothing like a nice boulder to your head. Alright. Well, okay, maybe that wasn't the best idea. Yeah, usually I don't pull someone right straight from the center, and that's why. That was a nasty knockdown. Looks like I'm going to survive. It was a bad pull, but it looks like I'll survive it anyway. Okay. Oh. What's he doing down there? What was he doing? Alright. And here are, well, what seems to pass for a trebuchet for the orcs. Though those are rather primitive sets of counterweights, I must say. No, don't ask me why they do that funny. First time the first cat one did that to me. Usually the second one does that to me, so it must depend on my position. Oh, yeah, there's the other orc. Goblin. There we go. I think that's the first time I ever destroyed those engines before clearing out the area. Well, it does demonstrate that yes, you can remove them before the area is cleared if you are able to do so without being seen, which doesn't happen too often. First aid. Nothing saves more potions for me than that. The main type of potion that I keep around are wound potions. And the wound ones are handy just in case I get disarmed, because for some reason I have to be armed in order to use these things. And now with the trebuchets down, I can walk down below without getting whopped on. Run, 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 run. I think this is the troll. Yeah, well, I always forget the names of never remember how to say Gorthrog or Gothrog or whatever you call these trolls. Just call them trolls. Although there are plenty of trolls in this. Of all sorts of types. And they like to go kick you down for some reason. I'll learn what all my gambits do now, since I know a few of them did change for the Helm's Deep expansion. Yeah. Before I do something really complicated, like trying to do a tier 3 skirmish without having to use a calendar to do my timing. Yeah, no. A little bit of hyperbole there. Alright. Now for the boss. Now this is part of my series on doing the entire timeline of all the skirmishes. Of all the non-epic skirmishes, I really should say. Soloable non-epic skirmishes. Okay, I'll put it that way, since it does not include survival barrel downs either. Kick. Well, that one. This boss fight is distinctive because it has the... Fortunately, he left me with the use of my javelins. Knocked the spear out of my hand, but left me with the javelin. Okay. Well, the boss is going to be dead before the second goblin reaches the gate, so I'm not going to worry about that. See, and once you kill the boss, for some reason the rangers all gather up and are able to catch any remaining goblins. So they don't leave with word of where the secret base is located, even though every player character who's ever played the game knows exactly where Dol Dinen is. But somehow, the orcs have never learned its location. Thanks goodness. And that concludes Attack at Dawn, part 6 of our series. And next time we'll go to part 7, which is the Icy Crevasse. Until then, this is Pine Leaf Needles. May your shield protect you, and your spear never break.